Time being 7:15, I'll call this meeting of the planning board to order. We're going to have a public hearing tonight. This is going to be recorded. You can get it on the local channel, or you can wait a couple days and it'll be on YouTube. Okay. I'll start out by introducing the board. On my far right is Tony Kinahan, James Noyes, Jerry Stetson, and I'm Hugh Hurley, the chairman. We also have Tracy Aldrich, town planner, with us tonight. The first thing on the agenda is Crescent View Farm has asked for an extension, and I happen to have own part of the land on it, so I've got to read this in legalese. In having an ownership interest in a parcel of land in the proposed Crescent View Farm subdivision, I sought town council's opinion as to my role in the public hearing, which opinion has been filed with the town clerk. I will not be participating in the matter as a planning board member and will not participate in deliberations or vote in the matter. I will be joining the audience and will be representing myself personally and speaking on my own behalf, consistent with town direction and state ethics commission guidance that a municipal employee may always represent his own personal interests, even before his own municipal agency or board, on the same terms and conditions that other similarly situated members of the public may be allowed. Okay, I'll be turning the chair over to Mr. Stetson. What we have to do is accept the extension that they have asked for and vote on it. And when is the date?
They requested a month, so
Okay.
I think March 20th would be
Okay.
the closest to that.
With that being said, Mr. Stetson, if you would vote on, please.
Accept the motion to accept the continuance for a month.
Second.
Second?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, it's been continued. It's back to you.
Okay, thank you. The second thing on the agenda tonight is 405 West Street, Enterprise Rent-A-Car, public hearing to, they want to do an expansion there. This is a public hearing. We're going to first have a presentation by the proponents. We may have some questions and concerns, and then we will open it up if the general public has any questions and concerns. We'll try to get them answered for you. And if you do, I ask that you introduce yourself and where you live, and then ask the question and that they be directed through the chair. And we have the proponent here who will try to answer this for you, and I'm sure we can get some kind of an answer. With that being said, who is going to be the presenter?
Good evening. My name is Amanda Dibberman-Freda. I'm an attorney for the law firm of Mary O'Shaughnessy and Udy. We submitted the application and the materials on behalf of Enterprise Rent-A-Car tonight. More or less, we're here for a special use permit, but it's really an expansion or amendment of the existing 2015 permit. More or less what's going, I should have just started easy. I do have with me tonight Doug Valeri of Enterprise Rent-A-Car, as well as Scott Rogers of JK Homewood Engineering, and Mr. from Burns and McDonald, as well as the owner of the property, and I'll be happy to answer the technical components of the questions as to the engineering and the water studies. But we're here today for the application of a special permit, basically to expand the use of an existing building within its own footprint. Right now, Enterprise Rent-A-Car is operating a vehicle maintenance and repair facility out of there. This is not a retail location. There's no retail customers coming in and out to rent vehicles. It's simply for the maintenance and repair of those vehicles there. Right now, they are leasing space within the building. I believe it's about 15,000 square feet. What they're proposing is that that building is, the use inside of the building is expanded by an additional 8,400 square feet to accommodate more use of that building, consistent with the use that's there now. The proposed use would be Monday through Friday, I believe it's 9 to 5, standard hours, occasional Saturdays. Maybe 6 to 8 employees would be employed at the site. There's ample parking in the area itself. Because there's little to no alteration to the external components of the building, they are seeking a waiver of the site plan approval. And again, the engineer can address exactly what's going on with regards to the outside of the building. And again, it's very minimal, a couple ramps to be added into bays for the vehicle access. With regards to the Water Resource Protection District, Enterprise has submitted a report filed by Burns and McDonald showing that there's negligible to low, if any, impact at all to the areas. While Enterprise will be dealing with some components of chemicals, there's brake fluid, oil, like the fluids from cars, that the proposed report addresses and provides mitigation measures in order to have no impact basically to the area. With regards to the standard, it's an appropriate location. It's located within an existing industrial district, and it's located inside of a building that's doing the exact same use that's already being done in that building. Seeing things with regards to how it would not adversely affect the neighborhood. Again, it's an industrial neighborhood. With regards to traffic implications, there's no real impact there either. It's a 6 to 8 employees with their vehicles, and the site's a very large site, and there's ample parking there for those 6 to 8 employees. It does have the proper space in order to be used there, and so the addition of 8,400 square feet is the appropriate space for use of the maintenance and repair of those vehicles. There's no nearby intersections. It's on a made road. Again, it's all industrial zoned and industrial areas. Again, the Burns and McDonald report directly addresses the appropriateness as to the impact of the environmental and any other characteristics. And again, they state that it's unlikely that the soil or groundwater beneath or proximal to the site would be impacted, and that's on page 7 of that report. Otherwise, that is what I can tell you at this point. Again, we're just looking to expand the use of the building itself for a use that's already being conducted within that building. And with regards to the plans, I can turn it over to Mr. Rogers. And I guess I should have mentioned that this was up before the ZBA and already received approval back in January.
Thank you. For the record, my name is Scott Rogers from J.K. Home Engineering. As Amanda had mentioned, this is an expansion of an existing use. Most of the project work is interior renovations. You can see in orange, we are proposing a floor drain inside the new Enterprise addition here, or expansion if you will. That'll connect to an proposed MOI, which is a manual oil interceptor, which will be located in this corner right here. And then it'll discharge to an existing 10,000 gallon industrial wastewater tank, which is essentially a holding tank. As far as like site work, I'm showing that we're gonna be relocating the chain link fence and gate about 110 feet towards the north. That's shown in green. We are proposing to add, in the back here, there are loading docks for tractor trailer trucks about 48 inches in height. We're going to propose that we're putting in 3 overhead doors here and 1 here. We're going to be putting in retaining walls and then filling that with soil, compacting it, and paving that area. So as Amanda mentioned, you'll be able to drive those cars up that ramp into the building. Excuse me. And then in red, I'm showing those 4 overhead doors that we're proposing. We also had done a complete stormwater report that was sent to the town back in, I believe it was in January, for this project and also the bigger project in the rear on Vitt's Way. So with that, I'll turn it back to Amanda.
Let me just ask.
Sure.
The stormwater report went to the Conservation Commission, did it?
I believe it went to you. I don't know if it went to the Conservation Commission, but I can.
Because normally they've been handling stormwater.
Okay.
But it was nothing negative came back?
No,
Okay.
it's basically cleaning the basins, doing a report, walking the site, making sure everything's working properly. So came back good.
Okay, and as far as you're asking for a waiver on site plan review,
Yes.
your site plan review is for the site plan, outside of the walls. And So basically, you're making a minimal amount of change, is that a fair statement? So you're not changing anything out there, you're not changing any lighting, you're just minor few things.
Yeah.
So, we'll probably, when we get to it, we'll probably,
Will Enterprise now be occupied using the whole building?
About 90%.
Is that fix a dent place still there?
So that has not gone in yet. They're switching company. There's gonna be another company coming forward to take that.
But they had already been in before us.
They were approved, but they never went in.
They never, okay.
Correct.
But they were gonna be basically fix a dent for you, right?
Yes, correct.
So it was, in theory, the whole building would be yours.
Yes.
okay, thank you. And you had more you wanted to add?
No, unless there's any questions, from the planning board themselves. No, I guess it's pretty
Okay.
straightforward.
Scott, maybe you're the person, could you explain on the Burns and McDonald, could you just give us some of the, okay,
Sure. So my name's Larry Page with Burns and McDonald Engineering Company.
okay.
So what would you like to know?
Just give us, I know it's a few issues in here, recommendations.
Oh, sure.
Would you just kind of highlight what those are?
Certainly, and they're pretty minor. There is, so we did a full walkthrough of the building and we looked at all the resources. Some of the things that what we tried to do was identify any potential migration pathways, where if you had a release of oils or whatnot, that they could possibly get into the ground. So one of them that we looked at was that we identified was there's some space at the overhead doors. Basically, one of them is a little bit off kilter, and some of them it looks like the seals are a little bit worn. They're older doors, so what we made a recommendation to replace the seals at the bottom of the doors, so that there's not a gap, and adjust the doors so everything's basically flush, right? And it's on the ground, it's doing its job. We also, walking through the building, there's floor joints. I mean, that's very common. But there was also some minor cracking, and I mean very minor. It's kind of a nitpicky one, but we suggested that they seal the floor joints the best they can and kind of fill those cracks and just improve it. And the slab itself, as I recall, is fairly thick too. So the chance of it being a migration pathway is pretty low. But sealing the joints will help. They also had in the northwest corner, there's a water supply that comes in, and somebody had done a repair and they had hammered out the concrete. So there's exposed gravel right there. We basically just suggested that they concrete that over, seal it up. And the last one was potential spills in the paved exterior that could get exposed to stormwater. So we suggested that they limit shipping and receiving activities to the interior loading docks as they do now, and then housekeeping things. Sweep up any oil absorbent, sweep up any sediment, that type of thing. Maintain a spill kit next to the loading docks, which they do already. They have plenty of spill kits at that site. And just if they need to do anything outside, if it's going to rain, just stop and continue it when the rain stops falling. So, pretty minimal stuff. Basically housekeeping type things and just sprucing up some minor things.
Okay. Rather than trying to read through the whole
Yeah,
thing.
I hear you.
And I knew it was something in there, but no, thank you for enlightening us.
Quite welcome. Any other questions for me?
Sound like 6 to 8 employees on site.
Correct.
This is a full-time job.
Additional. Yes, it will be, full-time.
Yeah, 40 hours a week for thereabouts.
Thank you.
You also mentioned it's soon to become a maintenance facility. What kind of maintenance are you gonna be performing?
So we repair vehicles for our fleet. This was specifically going to be for car sales. So they come in, if they need brakes, they get brakes and they go to car sales. If they need tires, they get tires, they go to car sales. So it's gonna feed our car sales location.
Okay, you're not gonna do any selling at this location,
Anyway,
selling,
no, there's no selling, nope. We do have a dealer's license, we wholesale off the lot, but that's about it.
what kind of fluids do you expect to store on site?
So we have motor oil, transmission fluid, you know, the normal maintenance, required maintenance for maintenance vehicles. We have FTCC plans that list all the chemicals that we have on site, everybody's trained in spill management. And, you know, it's required under the 1,300 gallon threshold of fluids, so we have all that in place.
What about, once so that's how you start, you're gonna store the virgin fluid, new fluid. What about the used fluid?
So it's stored in the same containers as double wall tanks, so split tanks. Half of it's virgin oil, the rest of it is waste oil. And then Safety Clean comes and pumps it out, recycles the oil.
That's all I have.
Thank you. Does anybody in the, any neighbors or anybody else here that have any concerns or questions? Okay. This is a continuation of several times we've added, and there are several zoning board of appeals conditions in here, the latest one being that has approved this expansion, the way I understand it. So what we've got to do is make findings pursuant to our zoning bylaw, some very specific ones. And what I'll do is read through them, starting with, from our bylaws section 7.5.3.1A. The specific site is appropriate location for such a use, structure, or conditions, which I think we've already determined many times before. The use B, the use as developed and operated will not adversely affect the neighborhood. It's in an industrial zone neighborhood. I don't know of any concerns anybody ever had with you. You've been a good neighbor. C, there will be no nuisance or hazard to vehicles or pedestrians or volume greater than the capacity of streets affected. You're just continuing business as usual. Adequate and appropriate facilities will be provided for the proper operation of the proposed use. And I think Burns and McDonald kind of went through some of that too. E, access to the site over streets is appropriate for the type of vehicles being involved. West Street is not that's a little old country road, but it's handled all your traffic, and it's handled all of Newton's traffic, so apparently it's adequate. Okay, and then continuing on in section 4.6.9.3A is consistent with the proposers and intent of section 4.6. Recommend an existing operation happening. Burns and McDonald have analyzed its impact and use and proposed mitigation to address potential impact. B is appropriate to the hydrology, natural topography, soils, and other characteristics of the site to be developed. I think that's already been demonstrated in past things. C, will not during the construction or thereafter have any adverse environmental effects on the water. In fact, virtually, according to Scott, you're really not doing hardly any construction adding on. So that one is okay. D, will not adversely affect an existing or designated future public wells, and there are no proposed that we know of in the area, although we do have a field down the street on Manley Street. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to make a positive finding for those
So moved.
motions. And a second?
Mr. Chairman, I might recommend just including a condition related to the mitigation.
Well, I'm good, do the conditions afterwards.
Okay,
These are the findings.
okay, just wanted to.
Okay, no, thank you. Okay, we have a motion, did we have a second?
No.
Will somebody second it? Okay. Any further discussion on the motion at hand?
I'd like to see some paperwork on exactly what the storage facility is for the oil fluids that are used, and what the plan is for maintenance and inspection for the storage.
Okay, I think we'll take care of that in the conditions. We haven't got to the conditions.
Okay.
Uh,
That I'm satisfied.
Okay, why don't we, this is the things in the thing, and then we will be putting the conditions on afterwards. And that's a valid point, although, okay, let's just get through this one. Then, so is there any further concern with the motion at hand? All those in favor, Mr. Kinahan,
Aye.
Mr. Noyes, Mr. Stetson,
Yes.
and the chair votes yes. So we have a vote of unanimous of the four present. Okay. Okay, now let's get to the to grant a special permit to a site plan with the conditions. The hours which are, you say, basically, but we're in industrial area, that's fine. We have one proposal, subject to implementation and ongoing adherence to the recommendations set forth in the Burns and McDonald review, dated blah, 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 intended to mitigate any adverse effects of the water. The next one was to implement dust erosion and sediment control measures. Subject to the planning board decisions back in 2015, and in addition to any, we need proof of recording of this. This one would be great. And as-built requirement upon project completion, an as-built plan must be submitted to the building commissioner and planning board prior to the issuance of a certificate of occupancy, and continued compliance with all applicable provisions of the zoning bylaw. And I'd like to add in there the conditions of all the further former ones, because they're still in force. They don't. So all of the ones from the earlier decisions. And now, Tony, with your concerns, you wanted to see the volumes. Do you have any? Are you talking any amount of storage, or is it all like of any liquids? Do you have any oils, any brake fluids, any like fuel, anything like that?
Yeah, so the oil tank is going to be an additional oil tank to what we have today, and it's the UL rated double walled tank. I believe it's 500 or 1,000. Yeah, I think it's 500, it's a 1,000 gallon tank split in half, so it's 500 and 500.
Okay,
So, and then we
but that has all the spill prevention.
Correct.
provisions.
Yep, that has everything that we need. Larry does our SPCC plans as well, so he's going to redo our SPCC plans under this.
Okay,
For any type of like brake fluid or anything, brake fluid is very minimal. We don't use a lot of brake fluid. The cars are new, these cars come in to us brand new. We buy them from factory. A lot of the work is done at 20, 30,000 miles, so it's not a ton of, we're not rebuilding engines, we're not redoing brake lines or anything like that. That's very minimal work for us. What we typically do is oil changes, tires, some brake pads here and there, items like that. If there's a glitch in the dashboard, they'll take the dashboard off, they'll repair that. So the other fluids are very minimal.
Okay. Connie, is that,
Yeah, do you picture, you're gonna be storing used fluid, which is hazardous waste.
Correct.
Everyone agrees it's hazardous waste. And you're gonna have it inspected periodically.
So we under our SPC plans, we do daily, monthly, and weekly spill checks. So that's part of our process, it's part of our training, it's part of our company policy, and it's part of the SPCC plan. So, and everybody there is trained underneath that plan. So if there's a spill, or they know how to properly store the chemicals, they can't sign manifests unless they're DOT trained. So we have all those in place today, and Kate and I manage those locally. So we're out of that building when we manage those.
Okay.
there is also a yearly, in fact, Scott, your office recently submitted these, this is one of the ongoing things from before, so this, so is a report made, you said, so could we also add in that we get your yearly reports for the stuff inside? Could we add that to the sort of thing?
Yeah, I mean, we can submit our daily, weekly, monthly reports to you too, if you would rather that, or we can have Scott go in and do what are you looking for, a visual check on?
Well, probably consign it with the same schedule as the outside one. Then because it comes into the building commissioner, it'll come in as one yearly package, and then it's rather than flooding him with paper. When it all comes in, it'll all be there, and we can see that everything is being adhered to.
Yeah. So who do you want to do the second report? Is that
That'd go to the building commissioner.
the building commissioner? But
Well, no, to do it,
To do it, Scott?
it'd be, I think Mr. Burns
okay.
would seem to be the one, because they're covering that, whereas the home good engineering one is taking care of the drainage and the water quality in from the parking lots and from the building. So now we'll have an additional quality one from the inside of the tower.
You mentioned you do tires, which I'm assuming is tire rotation, but do you have to replace, I guess my question is, you must replace the tires once in a while. I know I popped one on my last first rental, so I'm just worried, do you keep many of them, the old tires in storage, or are they
So we
taken
have
off the site?
we have a storage container. They get picked up once a week.
Okay.
So they get stored in. And it's a shipping container, but they get stored there, and then once a week a company comes and they pick them up and recycle them.
Okay, good.
So, and again, there's strict regulations against us storing tires outside, and so, we're a big company, we're a family-owned company, we're very cautious about our brand, so we don't pull any, as you can tell, we try to do everything by the book, so.
Okay, so we got that, and Donna,
Yes.
reference to the Burns and McDonald is to their recommendations and to put on that they will be doing a report.
Okay.
Mike had some recommendations too.
Yeah.
But I think probably the first three are already as
I
part of
think-
the special permit, but. We're just modifying the existing one.
You're right, yeah, basically, yeah. Yeah, you're right, I saw that thing from Mike Quinn.
There it is.
What page?
9.
Okay. On the recommendation of the building Commissioner, ensure the applicant has an emergency response plan in place and has trained all his employees on the procedure in the event of an accidental spill or event that could affect the town's water supply. I believe that's already in one of the earlier ones.
Mhm.
I haven't read it, but I remember we had something in there. Number two, ensure that the applicant shows that what method and what supplies will be on hand, speedy dry, environmental spill kits, booms, etc. In the event of a spill, ensure location of all emergency spill supplies are shown on the plan.
That's the same as the past.
I think so, yeah. Ensure that the code compliant floor drains are installed in this unit. I believe they're already installed.
Right.
Okay, and then, he suggests that we have the applicant contractor scheduled for pre-construction meeting with all code officials involved with the project to ensure everyone is on the same page and streamline the process from permitting to occupancy. There appears to be several code issues from what I can see on the supplied floor plans. That's one of the things he likes to do is have a pre-construction, get everybody in there, walk through it.
That works.
So,
And we met with the building inspector already, and we ran him through the project, and he was on board with whatever, but we can do whatever.
and that way the plumbing inspector, wiring, et cetera, they're all in there at one time
Sure.
and see it all, which is the standard of what he does. Okay, those are the conditions.
If we can just clarify with one of the conditions, with the Burns and McDonald report, if it would just be a general environmental scientist, or
Environmental
professional report, just that way, for any reason, Burns and McDonald isn't isn't the vendor anymore.
Okay, yeah. Our facsimile is that? Okay, yes, yeah, okay, yeah. No, we understand that, for one reason or another, like, Scott's firm was not the original civil on this, but he's picked up and he's they're taking care of it, so, you know, we understand that the change through there. Okay, with that and, done, I will entertain a motion to approve the special permit with the conditions as
So
stated.
moved.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chairman, if I could just
Okay.
ask one clarification. Is the site plan, were you,
We're doing we'll do the site plan
okay,
after.
your original motion, I thought you mentioned it, so.
I started just to get it started in the middle, but we'll keep it to the, no, I haven't forgotten that. Not yet, I haven't, every time. Okay, so we have a motion to approve the special permit with the conditions as stated. Mr. Kinahan, how do you vote?
Yay.
Mr. Noyes? Aye. Mr. Stetson?
Yay.
And chairman votes nay, yay. The vote is unanimous of the four present. Now, as far as the request to waive site plan approval, I think that with the, normally site plan, as I stated earlier, is for the building, and virtually everything pretty much is there, so, if new construction, care about the lights, the screening, the entrances, the number of parking. I know you got a huge parking lot up there, so I'm not gonna even go there. But, how do the rest of you feel?
Yeah, I don't have any problem with it.
Move to waive it.
Okay, we have a motion to waive site plan approval. We have
Yeah,
a second? We have a second. Mr. Kinahan, how do you vote?
Yay.
Mr. Noyes?
Yay.
Mr. Stetson?
Yay.
And the chair votes yes. Vote is unanimous of the four present. We will be filing this with the town clerk, and there is an appeal period, and you know the procedure. And we will continue with that. That being said, one more thing. I have a piece of paper here for you. It's the invoice for the publishing and stuff.
Thank you for giving that to her, you can pay that.
Well, she was the initial introduction. I wasn't sure, so I knew the attorney would know.
You guys gonna build a new town hall with this, or what?
Okay. Well, you're handling it off. Okay. With that said, I'll call this public hearing and close. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you so much for your time tonight. Thank you so much.